நாளுக்கு நாள் மது, புகைப்பழக்கம் உள்ளிட்டவைகளால், தவறான உணவு பழக்க வழக்கங்களாலும் நீரிழிவு நோய் சதவிகிதம் நாட்டில் அதிகரித்து கொண்டே செல்கிறது. இதனை கட்டுப்படுத்த தமிழக அரசு நகர மற்றும் கிராமப்புறங்களில் கேழ்வரகு மற்றும் சிறுதானியங்களை மக்களுக்கு அளிக்க வேண்டும். ஊட்டச்சத்து உணவுகளும் மக்கள் வாங்கும் விலையில் கிடைக்க வழிவகை செய்ய வேண்டும். உலகளவில் 2040ஆம் ஆண்டில் 130 கோடி பேர் நீரிழிவு நோயால் பாதிக்கும் அபாயம் உள்ளது. வேலூர் கிறிஸ்தவ மருத்துவக் கல்லூரியின் மருத்துவர், கனயவியல் மற்றும் நீரிழிவுத்துறை நிபுணர் நிகில் தாமஸ் பேட்டி.
India, the prevalence of diabetes is increasing, and as you know, that there are additional risk factors which may be there, as we have actually described in the article. It's important to realize that the impact of previous eras in terms of food insecurity, which do not exist today in India, but previous eras when there were famines, etc., would have had an impact and have imprinted the effect on the body of people. And this might lead to a phenotype, a growth of an individual who may be more prone for diabetes. We also have to realize the importance of low birth weight in the evolution of diabetes. People with low birth weight have what is known as a thrifty phenotype, and this thrifty phenotype makes one more liable to develop diabetes and obesity as they grow older, even hypertension for that matter. And therefore, those who are born low birth weight have to be more cautious. We have to take in precautions in terms of handling their dietary needs. From a policy perspective, the importance of protein-rich food, rich in fibers in particular, is very important. We need to think about government policies which focus on trying to reduce the prices of food which are healthier, give disincentives towards food which is richer in carbohydrate, and give more incentives towards food which is rich in fiber. Fruits and vegetables should be encouraged. From a perspective of health policies in schools and colleges, this needs to be encouraged. I think the importance of global equity and focusing on those aspects and trying to improve preventive aspects of handling diabetes is very important. Thank you very much. Yeah. So the importance of millets cannot be understated. Over the last 40 years, there's been a huge change in dietary habits. People in villages were actually eating very healthy about 40 to 45 years ago, taking large quantities of ragi. Now that has changed. Obviously, with cereals like rice and polished rice for that matter becoming very cheap, and with government schemes actually providing this, people are ingesting a lot more white rice. And this is done in an uninhibited fashion. So we have to find ways wherein millets and ragi are actually encouraged for the population. We have to find schemes wherein perhaps the government can provide millets rather than polished rice as part of incentive for the people. Yeah. So there's a large number in the population who are undetected, and perhaps below the age of 40, maybe around 35 to 40% of people who have diabetes do not know about it. And therefore, the importance of screening and awareness is important, particularly in young women, those who are planning on marriage. It's important to pick up pre-diabetes, because this pre-diabetes can later on to diabetes in pregnancy. And so the preventive measures for young ladies or college going and those who are planning on marriage in terms of tackling and preventing diabetes is very important to prevent gestational diabetes. As you know, diabetes in pregnancy per se is a risk factor which may subsequently lead to uncontrolled glucose, and this itself is a risk for the baby later on developing diabetes in adulthood. So in urban areas, the prevalence of diabetes may be as high as around 20 to 25%. In rural areas, depending on which part of the country you are, it can range from anywhere from 5% up to around 15 to 16%. Yeah, so most bottled beverages have a significant amount of carbohydrates. Sugar is a major additive to this, and the equivalent of anywhere from 5 to 10 spoons of sugar may be present in 200 to 300 ml of a bottled beverage. Uh, Alcohol, in its own sense, is actually high in carbohydrates in its own way. It has obviously other adverse effects on the body, which are well known. Besides being high in carbohydrates, for example, beer contains a very high calorie content. Alcohol per se has other negative effects in terms of its effect on the liver. In the acute phase, the carbohydrate load is increased. It can increase glucose levels. In the chronic phase, the glucose content in the liver can drop, and this can actually make you much more prone for low sugars. And therefore, someone who has diabetes, taking alcohol has negative effects in both ways, increasing the risk of high glucose as well as increasing the risk of hypoglycemic attacks.